Only 3 weeks are left before the end of this year. And naturally, we start looking back the year, the past 12 months, and reflect on what happened or what didn't happen. We ask, what did I achieve or what did I miss? What are the things that I hoped I will do but haven't happened? And those questions apply to our spiritual life too. A year in our spiritual journey is a very short span of time. And it may be hard to see changes, but still, let's say we can see the outward changes. Some of you might say, yes, I have learned Honso this year, or I started energization exercises, I'm practicing it every day, I received Kriya initiation. Now, what about inside? What about in your heart, in your consciousness? What changes do you see? There is this parable in the Bible, the parable of 10 virgins, 5 wise and 5 foolish ones. So let me read how Swami Kriyananda explains this parable. He says, 10 virgins await their bridegroom, the Christ consciousness. The wise virgins keep the oil in their lamps, symbolic of their devotion, lit through the night. The foolish virgins placed no oil in their lamps. These foolish ones are like the average devotee, going through the motions of outer ritual, but keeping no fire of love burning in the heart. When the bridegroom's coming is announced, the foolish virgins realize their mistake and hasten out to purchase oil. During their absence, the Christ consciousness comes and embraces those who have been awaiting him with devotion. The foolish ones, by their lackluster devotion, are not accepted by him. This line that says, the foolish ones are like the average devotee, going through the motions of outer ritual, but keeping no fire of love burning in the heart. How often do we become like these foolish virgins? We have the lamps, we have our meditation practice, we have the techniques, and yet, do we have the enough oil of devotion all the time? That's the thing, all the time. Sometimes we have, but not all the time, unfortunately, for many of us. Swami Kriyananda said, devotion is more than just the feeling of the heart. It's absolute one-pointed attention. You know what you want in life, and you don't want anything else. That strong one-pointedness. How often do we meditate with that kind of absolute one-pointedness of devotion? Or is our devotion lukewarm, like that of 5 foolish virgins? Yesterday I was attending a class by Murli from Ananda Seattle. He was reminding us about the principles of energization exercises. And he made us do one experiment. He said, let's do bicep recharging, this one. Very simple, straightforward exercise, right? And he said, but before we do it, think of something that you've been wanting to achieve, you've been wanting to succeed, okay? And this success depends on how well you do this bicep recharging, how much you energize the bicep. And with that thought, if you do this, you feel the difference. The same exercise, but you're completely energized, more than usual. But this is what's happening. We think we have the routine, we do the routine, but how much attention and concentration and energy are we putting in what we do? There's another parable in the Bible. Jesus says, 2 men are in the field. The one will be taken, the other left. 2 women are grinding at the mill. One will be taken, the other will be left. What it means is that 2 people at the same place doing the same action, yet God chooses one and He doesn't choose the other. Why? Because it's not what matters is not the action or occupation or the position you have. What matters is with what kind of heart you are doing that action. What's your motive? What is your mental attitude? Swami Kriyananda said, no matter how well you work or how good that work is, it is almost valueless on the spiritual path unless it's done with the right attitude. All of us are busy every day. We are trying to get many things done well, quickly, or smoothly. But all of those actually doesn't matter in the eyes of God. He's just watching us. Are you thinking of me? Are you doing it with me? God is described sometimes as jealous God. Not jealous, not in human terms, but God is absolutely single in His love for us. His love is unconditional and unlimited, and He wants us to love Him in the same way. If we love God, if we say we love God, but then also love other things, then He won't come to us. He says He'll wait. I just heard this interesting story about Yoganandaji. One of the disciples one day was watching Yoganandaji greeting people who came to the class. After the class, people coming up to him and greeting, shaking hands. And there was a young man. He was kind of with low energy and dull face. And this disciple noticed that as Master Yoganandaji greeted this young man, his face also became dull. And they shake hands with not much energy, and the man left. And then next came an elderly woman, a disciple, full of love, pouring love to Master with joy. And then Yoganandaji also became so animated, and he started beaming the love and joy toward that woman. And that young man, he saw what's happening, and he thought, okay, maybe I missed something. Let me try again. So he went back to the queue, and he came up to Master once again. But again, he doesn't have much energy, he's like dull face. And Yoganandaji again his face became dull. When we give ourselves, our love, our heart to God, He gives us His love, Himself to us, actually much more than what we gave to Him in the first place. If we want Him, we have to give ourselves first. So if we ever find ourselves complaining that, oh, this is not happening, God is not giving me this and that, we have to reflect on ourselves that, have I given Him what I can, as much as I can? Next week we have Christmas meditation, 8-hour meditation, and I thought it's a good time, as we reflect like this, what can we do more? Christmas meditation gives such a great opportunity to do more of both techniques, and devotion. Maybe we can think, each of us can think of it this coming week. What can I do more? And let's come together next Sunday and pour that devotion and energy to the great ones and meditate together.
Before reading the autobiography of a yogi, I did not know that God watches the heart. I was an average devotee, following my parents and the society, the way they offer prayers, and I used to see them and repeat it. Once when I went to a temple, I saw a flower vendor outside and I thought, hey, that lotus is nice. Let me buy one lotus for Divine Mother and Lord Shiva. And when I approached him, he was very determined to sell a big rose garland to me. And of course, he wants business, so he's doing what he wants to. He's doing his job, but that left me with a confusion, because the two lotuses cost only 50 rupees, whereas the mala cost like 400 or 500 rupees. I got the lotus, I offered, but then within me there was this question, like, am I holding myself from offering the best to God? Would God judge me now that I did not get much expensive garland, a rose garland to Him? And this bothered me. And this was many years ago, but it bothered me a lot. But when I read Autobiography of Yogi, I understood that it was not the outward action that counted, but God sees the heart with which we offer. And there's a story about a saint in Tamil Nadu. She was a very young girl who really was in love with Lord Vishnu. And every day her dad, when he makes a garland for Lord Vishnu and takes it to the temple to offer to Lord Vishnu. But when the girl sees that, she will first look at it, inspect if every flower was intact, and then she will wear it and see if it is of the right weight and does it look beautiful, and then put it in the basket and send it to the temple. And her dad did not know about this. But one day when her dad was offering the garland to Lord Vishnu's statue in the temple, he found a long hair sticking to the garland, and he right then and there knew what happened, because he came back home and scolded his kid, and this is not the way to behave, and he gave a huge lecture, as all parents do. And she was very upset, because she was so lovingly even checking the weight of the garland. It shouldn't be so heavy for Lord Vishnu. His neck would pain. So she used to check even that. That night, Vishnu would appear in the dream of the dad and the saint's dad and say like, I want the mala she wears every day. I will not accept the mala which you give me. And he then realizes what happens, and he goes to the temple the next morning. He sees the mala, the new mala he had offered had fallen down, and he takes the mala which his daughter was wearing and offers it to Vishnu, and Vishnu's statue turned into gold. It's a story which is happened many hundreds of years ago, but in remembrance of that incident, even now they first offer the mala to the saint, and from the saint statue they transfer it to the god statue, which is quite unique. And you'd have already known many stories, heard many stories like this. Lord Rama did not mind when Sabari bit the berry and gave it to her. God watches the heart always, but we all have that devotion, otherwise we wouldn't be here. We have this burning devotion, we have that aspiration, except it is not as intense as it occasionally is. So our question is how to sustain that love for God, that fervor, that burning desire. How to sustain it is the question. Because in one of the stories of Lord Buddha is sitting with his disciple on a river bank, and a beautiful young woman, a courtesan, a lady, she comes and she says to Lord Buddha, my beloved, I'm here. Please hug me and embrace me. And all Buddha's disciples are not happy with this statement. And when they looked at Buddha, they were even more astonished to hear that Buddha said, yes, my love, I see you, but I will embrace you later, not now. And they couldn't agree with this answer too. After a couple of years, when Buddha was in meditation, he suddenly got up and said, my beloved is calling me. And he goes to the same part of the river and sees that lady, but that lady now is affected by some disease. She is not that beautiful young lady she was. There were sores and pimples all over her body. But Buddha embraces her, my love, I'm here, and heals her, and then she becomes a disciple and starts following Buddha. We never know when God would come to us. There's the burning desire, as Bible says, watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh. The complexities of karma and the fate are not always ours to see. We think that God is not answering our prayers. We think that we will attain God many lifetimes from now or tomorrow, but it is not up to us to decide. God comes when we least expect Him to come, and our job is to keep that desire, that love for God burning, and sustain the devotion, the oil in the lamp, and keep it burning through the night, as the story in the Bible says. But we have something the 5 foolish virgins did not have. Now all they had to do is, they just have to go to the 5 foolish virgins, should have gone to the 5 wise ladies who are waiting and say, hey, looks like you are determined. Why don't you remind me occasionally? Why don't you help me to keep my oil burning? And God knows that His Maya is strong, so He has sent gurus to bring us out of that Maya and liberate us. And Guru also knows that it is not an easy task, so he has given the spiritual family to us. And we can remind each other when one of us feel a little low, or if we find ourselves lacking in our practice, lacking in devotion, come for satsang. Always come and recharge yourselves here. The oil which keeps the devotion burning, you won't get that in supermarkets. You will have to come here and inspire yourselves every week so that you can sustain that devotion. It is like group of friends holding each other's hand at the seashore and looking at the sea and enjoying it. You know, it's a beautiful creation God has given. The ocean is very beautiful, but the waves of Maya can be strong. It can pull you inside the sea. But as long as you're holding your Guru Bhai's hand on both sides, it doesn't matter you slip or you fall, because they are not going to let you go, and you are also not going to let your hands off your Guru Bhais. So this satsang, which all the great masters and has given us, the spiritual family, is the way where we can hold each other, inspire each other, and keep the lamp of love lit in our hearts throughout the night. Doesn't matter how long as we are all together and we manage to sustain that devotion. Now, we also have a class, Realizing God in Daily Life, after the satsang at 11:30, where they will share more techniques and more teachings of Paramhansa Yogananda, which will give you how to sustain that interest, how to sustain that love in minute by minute every day. So I encourage you all to, if you're not in another class, then you can go and, revisit those techniques. And as Ananda Mahima said to Swami Kriyananda, there is no love except God's love. We cannot love God with our own love. There is only God's love. We can receive it and offer it back to Him. So we need to pray to God, to Divine Mother, to Heavenly Father, or however, in whatever form you see God, we have to pray to them and ask them to bless us with the sustained, devotional enthusiasm and devotional longing for God. So I'll end with this prayer from the Whispers given by Paramhansa Yogananda. This is a prayer demand. As you all know, Paramhansa Yogananda always says, do not pray to God like beggars, demand to God as a rightful children does to their parent. So this is a demand for fervor in divine love. Now close your eyes and pray with me. Tune into these words, because these words are given by God to Paramhansa Yogananda. They are saturated with power. Teach me, O Spirit, to love Thee as wholeheartedly as the miser loves money. Make me as attached to Thee as the drunkard is addicted to wine. Teach me to cling to Thee as erring ones do to their bad habits. Teach me to be as attentive to Thee as a mother is to her child. Teach me to perform my duties diligently with my attention fully riveted to Thee. Teach me to love Thee as the worldly man loves his possessions. With the first love of true lovers, teach me to love Thee. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.